If you want to be a king, dress like one. Symbolism matters. Appearance creates power. As a child, I remember asking my parents why churches were so large, ornate, and expensive. Wouldn't it be better to build a simple building and donate the rest of the money to the poor? My parents, devout Catholics, told me that the appearance of grandeur helped churches raise more money for the poor by attracting more parishioners and wealthier people. I have my doubts that the extra money ever really made it to the needy, but my parents were certainly correct that appearances helped the church bring in more money. It's part of the brand. The wealth and splendor of the Vatican is a strong foundation of its power, and it's been that way since its heyday in the Middle Ages. Christians were granted lands by Constantine I in the 4th century after his largely Christian army helped him become emperor of the Western Roman Empire. With their new powerful patron, church officials began dressing in the attire of royalty. That dress has survived to this day in the Catholic Church. And throughout history, it's been difficult to tell whether the Catholic Church was a church or a kingdom. Often it was both. The Borgia family learned to harness the church's grandeur for its own power. Rodrigo de Borgia was appointed cardinal by his uncle, Pope Calixtus III, also known as Alfonso de Borgia. Rodrigo became Pope Alexander VI in 1492. But he wasn't the most holy pope. For instance, he had children through adultery, and may have fathered a child with his daughter Lucrezia. Pope Alexander VI made his son, Cesare Borgia, a bishop at age 15 and a cardinal at 18. The Pope carved out a country for Cesare to rule in northern Italy and named him commander of the papal armies. Yeah, popes had armies back then, and God was on their side. When Pope Alexander VI died, without the Catholic Church, Cesare's power died too. Even in the 1960s, people feared that the Vatican would influence American government when John F. Kennedy became the first Catholic elected US president. Symbols are used all around us every day to subconsciously signal how people should act towards rulers and institutions. Machiavelli said, "It's not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." Titles are a psychological trick, marketing. Politicians are referred to as the honorable so-and-so, knowing full well that most of these people have about as much honor as a cockroach. They go to work in buildings that look like Roman temples and Greek palaces. They travel in black SUVs surrounded by bodyguards with earpieces. When Louis Philippe, the bourgeois king, abandoned the symbols of the crown and dressed and behaved as a businessman, he lost respect. Baron James Rothschild, Nathan's brother, once scolded this king of France publicly when he arrived at the baron's train car late. Judges holding gavels and wearing robes, police badges and uniforms, Nobel Prizes and movie awards are important psychological triggers that serve a very real purpose for the elite. Elites must also keep up appearances of rule of law while crushing threats to their monopoly of power. For instance, Ross Ulbricht created the Silk Road website as an online black market. Although he created the platform, there is no evidence that he engaged in any illegal activity that took place on Silk Road. Typically, platforms that allow user-created content cannot be held responsible for what users do on the platform. And yet, Ross Ulbricht was convicted of money laundering, computer hacking, and conspiracy to traffic narcotics. He was sentenced to life in prison, without the possibility of parole. For appearance's sake, the government can't simply throw a man in prison for giving people an alternative to their monopoly on market regulation. So they spread rumors that Ross had also attempted to hire a hitman to murder 7 people. These rumors didn't hold up in court. None of the accusations made it to trial. But the public still widely believes that Ross wasn't just the creator of a website, but also an attempted murderer. Technological advances are the major threats the elite face today, as opposed to revolutions and violent uprisings. So for appearances, they need to ban platforms and technology that can give people freedom from the elite's control of economics, money, and banks. That's why governments want to stop anonymity online, block encryption VPNs and Tor, and ban cryptocurrency. Ross Ulbricht's life sentence is not a problem for people convinced he was a drug lord, and it is a message to those who agree with his cause. Men ought either to be treated well or crushed, because they can avenge themselves with lighter injuries, and more serious ones they cannot. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince.
Subscribe below for more content like this. This is actually an excerpt from a longer report. If you want to read that or listen to it right now, follow the link below. Thanks for watching.